Hello, everyone. Welcome to the EJG3 show. This is your host, Eddie Geller. Today we are going to talk baseball. Three out of the four divisional series are done, and let's go through each series. Let's start with the Yankees versus Royals. Uh, Obviously, Yankees won the series 3-1. I thought the Yankees bullpen uh dominated this series. They went 15 and two-third innings this postseason. Scoreless, I will add. And I thought you saw Clay Holmes, a guy who really struggled in the regular season, got demoted from the closing role. He was big time. Uh, and then you saw Luke Weaver really it felt like it was easy for him closing the uh game three. Or I mean I'm sorry, game three and game four. No one really could hit those two. Uh I really thought Garrett Cole game one performance it was a little shaky, a little rusty. Obviously he didn't pitch for a while. Because obviously he had a week layoff. But I thought he was shaking game one. I thought he was dominant in game four, going 7 innings, just giving up one run. And that's what the Yankees need from him. They need a dominant performance. Um, he's one of the starting pitchers. Like, if I'm gonna trust him. Um, I thought Clark Schmidt, game three performance, just giving up 2 runs. Uh, you know what? It gave the Yankees a chance, obviously to win that game because, this Yankees offense right now is they're not producing a whole lot of runs. And I thought it was good that the pitching staff really dominated the series. So I thought Clark Schmidt had an excellent game three, just giving up 2 runs. Uh, the MVP of this series really goes to Stan. That go ahead home run versus the Royals, game three. It just sealed the deal in that series. A guy who a lot of people criticized in game one for not running hard. He literally could have scored 2 runs in game one, but obviously he doesn't run as well. But that home run in the eighth inning in game three, that was clutching. That's the stand that we need, that the Yankees need, uh, to really, uh, obviously not for the ALCS, but also for the World Series. They need him to have big home runs, to have big at bats, and he came up clutch. Obviously, Judge really struggled in this series. I know he had a double in game four, but obviously game one, first inning, struck out. When you had two guys on base. But I think he'll get there. I think obviously just having a week off, I think he really struggled, uh, lost a lot of rhythm. But I think Judge will be Judge versus either the Tigers or the Guardians. I'm not really worried about him. I think the more at bats, the more comfortable he is. Um, and obviously, I thought Torres uh, really had a good series. I mean, having a home run uh, in game one, that was clutch. Um, you saw him have good at bats. Uh, Now Wells, obviously, he's struggling too. A couple strikeouts, but he's doing good behind the plate. I saw him really controlling the game. Catchers really do need to control the game, the tempo, and I thought he did that well. Uh, I also thought um, uh, Juan Soto, uh, he had a good series. Now, Judge and Soto didn't have the home run, but Soto really did have some good at bats, couple RBIs, and it's really you really got to count on Judge and Soto being their key hitters. Soto was a key hitter. Judge, I think he'll step up in the ALCS. Um, but I thought the defense from the Yankees were good. I think the Royals, a young team, but they're on their way. They just couldn't hit uh, against these Yankees pitchers. Um, but overall, very pleased. On I still believe that this was their toughest series, in the AL, because there's a difference playing 5 games and 7 games. So I think obviously Rodon struggled. He probably would have been a pitcher game 5. Um, but the fact that Cole dominated game 4 really gives me a lot of hope for this Yankees team. Um, but I think they'll I think they'll be fine either versus Guardians or Tigers. But overall, I thought the Royals were their toughest matchup in the AL. I because the Royals can pitch and they can steal bases. And a team that steals bases, they like to score runs. So I like the fact that really 2 out of the last 3 games, they kind of held them in check. They weren't on base a lot. So I think overall, Yankees had a great series. Um, now, now it's on to the AL Championship, which I wouldn't be too concerned about. Like I said, the Tigers and Guardians, they can't really pitch or hit well. Um, but I'm glad that the Yankees bullpen uh really, really was awesome in this series. Now, the Mets versus Phillies. The Mets dominated. I watched every game in that series. Mets totally dominated all 4 games, but obviously, uh, in game 2, their bullpen let some couple runs, and obviously they lost. But they closed out game 4, uh, 4-1. You know, they have a lot of hitters. Francisco Lindor had a clutch home run, not just home run, but a grand slam in the 6th inning. You had Pete Alonso uh, having a clutch home run, not only in his Philadelphia series, but also in that Milwaukee series, game 3. You know, Marte, Nimmo, uh, Vientos, like this Mets team, they can really hit the ball. And I think the only concern about the Mets that you have is clearly the bullpen. Are you going to get consistent outings from Diaz? You know, that's a big concern. But overall, their starting pitching was excellent. They really shut down Schwarber and Harper. Um, and his Philadelphia offense really down. Now, obviously, Weaver, no, not Weaver. Yeah, no, yep, Zach Wheeler. Uh, he had a dominant game 1. and their Philadelphia's bullpen was very shaky in that series, and you saw if the bats were not going, the Mets had the confidence to just roll, and um, you saw a lot of games. It really came down to the seventh, eighth, ninth inning, and that's where the Mets just really controlled the game. Um, and you know, like I said, their leader Francisco Lindor, just what a clutch at bat. You know, I kind of and put they also had a lot of guys on it in that game four, and they just couldn't come through. But they were so confident. You're only down one run, and Francisco Lindor was clutch. And but I also like the starting pitching. I think Luis Severino, Jose Quintana, and Sean uh Mania. I apologize for pronouncing it wrong. Um, they're they had a good series. So and I think I'm sorry for saying this to a Yankees fan, but the Mets are the better New York team by far. They have better pitching. They have better hitting. Um, I think the Yankees have a better bullpen, but if I had to say which team is better between the two New York teams, it's clearly the Mets. Uh, and they were terrific against the Philadelphia Phillies. I think the Phillies are a good team, but they were just facing a hot New York Mets team. Um, so now to the next series, who they will play, um, the Dodgers. Clutch game five. Yamamoto. Uh, outdueled Darvish. That was a great pitching matchup. Um, you know, Yamamoto. He pitched 5 innings. Only 63 pitches. He could have easily went deep in that game, but Dave Roberts, the manager of the Dodgers, really trusted his bullpen. You got um, Evan Phillips who got 5 outs. Um, he struck out Machado and before in that seventh inning. And then you got um, the only concern about the Dodgers was that at 2 intense. You know, 5 games is a lot. You got Freddie Freeman. His angle is bothering him. You have Otani, who he wasn't terrific in that series, but he was okay. Um, is he cold? Mookie Betts, uh, he had a good series. Um, both teams were loaded. Machado, you had Fernando Tatis Jr. for the Padres. Uh, that series it was intense. There was a lot of trash talk, and talk about backs against walls. Game four, game five, Dodgers really took it to them. Uh, and I'm not surprised that this series went five. I really thought the Dodgers and Padres were probably the two best teams in the National League. Um, and what an epic series. Um, you know, it's Mets Dodgers is going to be an interesting series. I thought the Padres when they went up 2-1, I'm like, okay, they got the series in the bag. But credit the Dodgers for winning that series. there was clearly more pressure on the Dodgers. They spent over $700 million, uh, in the offseason. Uh, but yeah, no, Dodgers won. Uh, I think the Padres, I think they're close. I just think they need a little bit more pitching. But you Darvish had a hell of a game, but just the offense just didn't come through. Um, Now I am worried about Freddie Freeman's ankle. I'm curious if he's going to play game one against the Mets. Um, that's going to be an interesting series. If I had to rank the teams, it would be Dodgers, Mets, Yankees. I think those are the three best teams uh, remaining in the playoffs. Um, but yeah, I mean that Dodgers Padres series was absolutely epic. I'm I think if you're the Mets, I think you should feel confident heading into that Dodgers series. Um, but yeah, no, just an absolutely uh great series by obviously Dodgers Padres. I thought the Phillies Mets series was exciting. Um, and obviously the Yankees won their series. Um, but you really saw the Mets, Yankees, and Dodgers are clearly the three best teams remaining. Um, and I do believe the winner of the Mets Dodger series, I think they should be easily the favorites heading into the World Series. Um, but yeah, no, I think can the Mets have enough hitting versus the Dodgers? Can they can their bullpen shut down the Dodgers offense? So it's going to be a fascinating matchup. Obviously, you have Game Five, Guardians and Detroit. Um, but I think the Yankees will win that series no matter what. But the Mets Dodgers, I mean that is must see television. Um, no, can the starting pitching for the Mets and the bullpen can they shut down? Because if they can shut down the Dodgers offense, I believe the Mets can have equal hitting. Um, so I think it's going to be an epic series. I can't wait for it. Um, and I think the coach, the manager for the Mets, Carlos Mendoza, he really added life for the Mets. And New York versus LA. I mean, you can't get better than that. Obviously, you have to talk about the New York Mets. But it's going to be an exciting matchup. I can't wait for it. And what an epic playoff so far. I've watched every single game. You can really tell the urgency about these playoffs. Every game it's must win. Every pitch, every at bat, it's so important. Must see television, and for baseball, I think the urgency and the stars showing up clutch. It's really good for baseball. I think this postseason has been really really fascinating so far, and can't wait for the championship games to start. And yeah, uh, obviously the Yankees, they have a couple days off. The Mets have they had a couple days off. Um, will the Dodgers be a little tired, or could the Mets be a little rusty in Game One? I can't wait to see it. And I don't have a lead in each series. I think the Mets and Dodgers, it can go both ways. I could totally see the Mets winning 4-2. I could totally see the Dodgers winning 4-2. I think it could be a 6 to 7 game series. And I can't wait. So see you next time.